Welcome to Surviving as a Civilian. Today's episode is in memory of Ari Cullers. Sergeant Cullers made the ultimate sacrifice and gave his life to our country on October 30th, 2011, in Afghanistan. Ari was an amazing person to know and always fun to be around. Andrew and myself both had the honor and privilege to serve with this outstanding soldier and person. Today is March 30th, Ari's 38th birthday, and we have decided to dedicate this episode of Surviving as a Civilian to his memory. Over the last few months, we have collected recordings of people that have had the privilege to know and serve with Ari and compiled them into this episode.
Hi, I'm Andrew Cullers, and I met Ari Cullers my first night at Fort Drum. It was nighttime, so we were wearing civilian clothes, and I walked out to the smoke pit, and Ari was already standing out there, and he had these big-ass headphones on around his neck. He wasn't listening to them, so everyone could hear it. Well, it was only me and him out there. But anyways, he was playing, I think it was Wu-Tang or some song, but I knew the words to it, and I didn't know who he was, but I just walked out there, and I just started singing along with the song, and then he started singing along with the song at the same time, and then we just started laughing and wilding out for a second, and then he just walked away, and then but I knew right away that he was a cool ass dude, and then we were pretty cool after that, and just a lot of fun bullshitting in the motor pool, a lot of good games of spades, and just a good guy, good friend to be around, and he will definitely be missed.
Hey everyone, my name's Dominic Kithcart. I've known Ari since the minute I joined the Army when I got to Fort Drum for my first duty station. He wound up being my roommate, and oh my God, he's family to me. Like, it was straight up, like, it was just nothing but good times. He was a great leader. He taught me a lot, and the story that I have to tell everyone, we came back. So the story was, we came back from our first deployment from Afghanistan, and Ari, he made his E5, he made his sergeant, and I forgot the time frame. Like, I can't remember much, but when we came back in the motor pool, we were literally cleaning up everything, trying to straighten up to get ready for the next year and everything that was going on. So for some reason, because everyone was back and we all have like weird personalities and we all love to have fun and do some weird stuff and have a good time because how stressful life can be. We're cleaning up the motor pool, and like in the backside, there's like this shack or a building or something that was back there. And so I don't know what it was. I love to take pictures of everyone. So during this time frame, I'm taking tons of pictures of everyone. Everyone's being goofballs on their phones, doing weird poses and everything. And it's just a good time, like a family. And it was just an amazing feeling. So we're in the background, and I just hear this random yelling, not like yelling, but it just winds up happening. And so I go to the back, and I was like, man, what is going on? Come to find out, one of our new guys, Shackelford, he wound up just getting to the unit like right after we got back, like a week or two after we got back. And so freaking what happened was Shackelford did something, I can't remember, and he was just getting smoked. It was just the funniest thing in the world. So while Shackelford's getting smoked in the background, like he was like 10 or 15 feet behind everyone, everyone's taking pictures. We're still cleaning. And this crazy part was Ari was the one smoking. I was like, oh man, he must have did something crazy, because Ari don't smoke anyone just randomly like that. He must have did something crazy. So during the time frame, like Shackelford's getting smoked, we like completely forgot he was getting smoked because of how long it was happening, and because we were cleaning and having a good time and just goofing around and everything. So what happened was we had these two guys, Will and Jeff, twin brothers from Michigan, really good friends. And like what happened was, like during the time frame, they were picking up Ari. I don't know what happened. I was trying to take another picture of everyone because I was leaving to Hawaii soon, and I wanted to have pictures of everyone as a group. And so what happened was Ari wound up having the twins pick him up. It was like cheerleading practice or something. It was the most hilarious thing. I have this picture I have to show everyone. It is the funniest thing in the world. So come to find out, like when I took the picture of the twins picking up Ari, and like holding him in the air, like legs split and everything. It's just, I'm telling you, it was just funny. When I saw Ari, when I took the picture and saw Ari in the photo doing his pose, in the background, you could see Shackelford just blood red all over because he was just sweating and dying, holding a tanker's bar, like this heavy little metal bar that we use to like break things. And like Shackelford's in the background while Ari's being held in the air like a cheerleader. It was just the craziest thing. And that's like one of the funniest things I remember, like a memory with Ari. And it was crazy because seeing him, like, because the way Ari is, he's business, but at the same time, he knows how to enjoy life when business is not there. And just seeing him just being a goofball, being held up by the twins, and then seeing Shackelford in the background just sweating, holding up a tanker's bar because he's just been holding in the air for like forever. It was just, oh my God, it was just one of the greatest memories ever. And just seeing the picture every day, it just brings joy and all the happiness and everything that I've learned from him and everything that I just been through with him. And it's just crazy. And it just reminds me of nothing but good times. And like Ari, man, so Ari, yeah, I'm telling you, it was just seeing that and just being there, it was just amazing. And I'm gonna try not to get too emotional because it's talking about Ari, but yeah, that's it, man. I'm telling you, just that picture.
This is Roxanne Jones. I was a member of the 3 BSTB unit at Fort Drum with Ari, and I'm at a loss for words when it comes to him. One minute I could be talking about him and the words just flow because he was such a bubbly and bright person, and then the next minute I just get hung up on my words because I miss him so very much. When I got to Drum in March of 2008, I was just a little private, trying to get used to everything. I was from Northeast Alabama, a small town. Of course, the accent pulled everybody's attention, and there were plenty of jokes that went around. For some reason, I guess it's the fact that I was from Alabama, Ari decided to pull a prank on me that has scarred me for life. Like I said, I was just a little private trying to get used to things at Drum. And he came to me in the motor pool. We were doing our PMCSs, and he said, at the time I was a Scot. He said, "Hey, Scott, come here for a second. I need you to run and get something for me." And I went to him, and he said, "I need you to go in the motor pool and ask the guys for some blinker fluid." Little did I know that blinker fluid did not exist. Needless to say, it was a big crack up for everybody else, and I still get picked on about it. And that has been going on 13 years ago. Ari was a wonderful person. I even took him with me in spirit when I had my last child on Veterans Day of 2019. He may be gone in body, but he will never be gone from our hearts.
All right, well, Master Sergeant retired Joey Pryor, and I'll talk about Staff Sergeant Ari Cullers. Ari was my best friend there in the Army. Spent a lot of time together. We spent actually even Christmases with his family over in Connecticut together, so I got to really know Ari well. He was kind enough to let me in, holidays to go see his family and meet all of them, and we were just very, very close. I think at that time I was a sergeant. He was a specialist. He just got over in Fort Drum, I think around, I'll say 2007. He got there. I know he was stationed at Fort Sill with the field artillery guys and out in Korea before he came there. But he was definitely a one-of-a-kind person. Anybody that knows Ari, he was a lot of fun to be around. He never knew what to expect, what was gonna happen with him. There's always something crazy, funny going on with him all the time. And I was really thinking about it. I guess the best way I can, like, with one word I can describe Ari would be that he was very fearless. He wasn't afraid of anything. One time we went out in Stillwater Reservoir outside of Fort Drum, New York, camping, and it was like an early spring in Fort Drum, so the water out there is still like very, very cold. Like even to the touch, I couldn't get in that water, but instead Ari was very fearless, and there was an island probably about 600 yards away, and he decided that he was going to swim to that island. Trying to talk him out of it. So I knew how cold the water was, and I was like, man, this guy's probably going to drown or whatever, and trying to talk him out of it, and he just jumped in and started swimming. And 600 yards swim to an island over there, then he has to swim back. Like the Army PT test, I think it was like an 800-meter swim. So it's a pretty far swim for cold water. But he just did it anyway. I ran to go grab one of the canoes from the top of the hill to try to get out there just in case something happened. But by the time I got down there, he was already just about on land. I started paddling over, and he made it all the way there and jumped up on there, jumped up on the land, put his arms up in the air, and started yelling, screaming out the top of his lungs. He's so proud of himself for doing it. But he was the kind of person that was just fearless, didn't worry about consequences, and he lived like that, all the time, no matter what. Even going into the deployments, he wasn't afraid of anything. He always wanted to be out with the guys on the line, which is where he was always at. I know the first deployment, he always volunteered himself to be out there. He wanted to put himself, as far as being out with the sappers, or in the first one being out with the field artillery guys, out at the cops, out on the front lines. That's just where he wanted to be. He'd rather be out there instead of his soldiers or any other NCO going out there. He was very selfless in that aspect. I could tell you, he was very fearless guy, very fun to be around. He was a great mentor to all of his soldiers. I mean, everybody loved him, and I definitely miss him, man. He's just one of those one-of-a-kind guys that you only come across one time in your life. And I mean, as many stories I could say about Ari, that's when I could describe how his personality was, how he was as a person.
All right, so my name's Justin Griffin, and this is my story about Ari Cullers. So I was brand new to my unit, and one of my squad leaders had, I guess, identified me as a high performer and started pulling me into, kind of a circle outside of work. And that's where I first met Ari Cullers. And I met him in his barracks room. So we had kind of a soldier's party in his barracks room. And it was just a bunch of us doing what Ari liked to call the wine box challenge. And so every person was given a wine box. And essentially it was just debauchery where you try to down the entire wine box. And so we did that. After that night, after a night of bonding and meeting Ari for the first time and hearing his freestyle raps and just his, lightheartedness, there was, I think, a 2-week interval before this weekend happened. Show up for the weekend because I was the new guy and I was small. I used to be the target in my early days at the unit with a lot of folks, and somebody pinned me up against the wall and grabbed me by my throat. I was on Ari's floor right next to his room when it happened, and he just happened to be coming back from the shop with groceries. Somebody had me pinned up against the wall by my throat.
Okay.
Like they were about to kick the shit out of me. it was a bunch of MPs who were about to kick the shit out of me. Somebody had me pinned up against the wall by my throat, and Ari was just coming back from the shop and he had groceries with him. And because I had been, you know, inside of Ari's inner circle, I think he felt the need as the protector that he was to kind of step out and say something. And he did. And, you know, they kind of threatened Ari, and then somebody pushed him. And then he grabbed the first thing that he could out of his bag of groceries, which happened to be a bag of bread. And he hit the guy that was holding me by the throat in the face with this bag of bread. And so you just see an entire loaf of bread go flying across the barracks. And it was me and Ari against the world at that point. And we just threw down. And then afterwards, I remember Ari bringing me into this room. He's like, "Come on, Griff, I got you, bro." And he just sat in there and he did his like Ari freestyles. And yeah, it was just, that's the type of person Ari was. You know, he would do anything for anybody. Like once you were a made man with Ari, and he used to use that term a lot, I mean, you were set. He would look out for you. He would take care of you.
When Bradford and I were getting married and we were preparing to get married, he was going crazy trying to find a black shirt to match me, and he couldn't. And Cullers just kind of came to the rescue on this, and he went and he gave Bradford the shirt that he needed, a black shirt, and then the next day we had a reception at the little hotel in Watertown, and he was just in every picture I have. He was in so many pictures, and I remember the night that we found out that we lost him, and I just went to the garage and I screamed at the top of my lungs, and I was bawling in pieces. And the Cullers, he was just this person that just lived fully, inside and out. He had no shame. He had no filter. He would just tell you how it is, but he would also, not be an ass about it, sometimes he would tell you in the nicest way how things are. But he was a damn good leader, and he was a damn good soldier. And losing him was one of the hardest moments of my life.
This is Scott again. I went back and forth on deciding whether or not to add my story to Cullers' tribute. Andrew kind of suggested that I still should do it, so here we go. The overall memory I have of Ari Cullers is great. He was a mechanic. You could rely on him for anything. Any one of my guys, to the lowest private to me, could say, "Hey, man, could you help us out?" And he would almost drop everything he had and get it done, or get his guys to get it done. So consummate professional, just always there. The last day him and I talked, I remember he had just gotten back from his leave, come back, and he was all proud of just buying a brand new Victory motorcycle, and I was giving him a bunch of shit about it not being Harley, even though Victory is, in my opinion, good bikes also. But we were going back and forth, giving each other shit, and talking about how we were going to ride when we get back, and I was going to outdo him on my Harley, and he was fighting me on that, and then we went out to our mission, and that was the last we ever talked.
So I guess one of my fondest memories of Cullers is on our second deployment. I remember we had this mission, and we had to go up, and there was a supposed ambush that was going to happen, and sure enough it was. And so after that was all said and done, we're both tired, we're both trying to kind of just calm down, and at that time I was still smoking, and so we ended up pulling out a cigarette and just smoking, and his ability to just calm you down was like no other, man. I remember just like that, he was able to just switch it from what we just had gone through to making me laugh about, life in itself. We had started talking about motorcycles that night, and, he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get back to my bike." He was, he was just describing it, but that's pretty much one of the things that I take when I work and I help people is, sometimes you don't necessarily have to talk about all the bad shit. That isn't the only thing that's going to help someone. And so, it helps me remember to just, you know, be there and chill at times. So that's one of the biggest things I remember about him, on top of everything. But, you know, and he didn't know he was helping me then, but that conversation has helped me for a very long time.
Thank you for taking the time to remember this great soldier and friend, Ari Cullers. Thank you to everyone who shared their memories of Ari with us on this podcast. Happy birthday, Ari. Until Valhalla, brother. Thank you for listening to this episode. Getting the message out about suicide prevention is a team effort. We need people to be brave enough to tell their stories. We need supporters to care enough to spread the word. If you have a story you want to share, please email us at survivingasacivilian.casting@gmail.com. And if you want to help share this project, like and subscribe to Surviving as a Civilian on Instagram and Facebook. The most important thing Andrew and I want to get across is that if you need help, get help. And if you can give help, please do it. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is at 1-800-273-8255. Until next time.